Hello, welcome Simon's Trading Channel. Thank you for joining me for another video. Happy Sunday to you. I hope you've had a smashing weekend. Sunday means, of course, the Bybit's about to close its weekly candle. And it looks like it's going to close it very close to where CME closed on Friday. So that's fairly okay, I would say. Right, let's get on with it. So as you can see here, this is the weekly time frame. And it looks, just by the skin of its teeth, that Bybit is going to close its weekly candle unless it drops from where it currently is above or right on the Bollinger Band midpoint. That's significant because if volatility picks up on the weekly when price is above the midpoint, it's more that would make an upside move more likely. Whereas if the candles are closing below the midpoint and volatility expands, it's more likely that it will be a price move to the downside. So you can see it right on the pivot because that just turned green. Sorry, that's for the momentum, for the MACD, coming in at 62,600. So it's very close to turning this green again with 3.5 hours left to go. And everything is around that point. So the switching of momentum back to the upside, turning MACD green, and indeed the midpoint of the Bollinger Band. So it's all around that 62.5. So I think that's okay. If you look at, so obviously this is a weekly time frame with the impulsive move to the upside and then the 30-week consolidation. If you just use the midpoint of the Bollinger Band as your reference point, which is basically 20 SMA, you can see that price has been more or less living below the 20 SMA more than it has been living above. So there's only 2 closures there. I wouldn't call that a closure above. And then we've had 1, 2, maybe 3 closures above here. So it does certainly look like momentum is gathering a bit on this weekly time frame. Not out of the deep water yet, though. I think either this week or next week will be the defining time. If it goes on for any longer than that, then I'm moving on from Bitcoin. I'm going to do some price action analysis on Tesla or mainstream markets. Here's Tesla. Oh, look at that for a nice trending upside move. Oh yes, I could talk about that for a long time. I do look at other assets. I just don't do videos on them. But I can, if you want. Ask me in a comment. And while you're there, like and subscribe. Now, so that's the weekly, right? So the weekly looks like it's on a bit of a threshold. Zooming down to the daily, you can see that, price is creeping up. Those 2 lines are for the 4 hour, which I pointed out yesterday. It does look like it's trying hard to get above the midpoint on the Bollinger Band here. Hasn't quite got there. It would need to close the daily candle back above 63 to do so. So there's still a bit of time, 3.5 hours to go. And you can see the daily volatility is cooling off fairly quickly here. So again, when you're looking at volatility cooling off, well, that precedes volatility expansion. And if you want to get a preview of the likely direction of price movement following volatility expansion, use the 20 SMA on the Bollinger Band as your pivot. None of that's financial advice, and you can backtest it yourself. Just use AI. Use Claude. It'll do. Or ChatGPT does coding now. They're all doing it. They're all awesome. But yeah, not tradable on its own, but it's very useful from the point of view of gauging market trend and sentiment. So you can also see that my momentum indicator, the MACD, looks like it wants to turn back to the upside, but it's going to continue falling unless Bybit here closes a Bitcoin daily back above 62.8. So very close to the midpoint again on the Bollinger Band to make everything go green. The 4 hour. So I put this support resistance line on yesterday, and it looked like the 4-hour did indeed find it as support, which is good. And it's not exactly expanding volatility, but there is a sequence of is it a sequence on the very low time frames? That's a trending upside move. You know, it's not so obvious on this 4-hour. But again, if we do get some, or if Bitcoin does get some good volatility expansion by expanding these Bollinger Bands, with the price being above the midpoint, it's more likely that that will be a move to the upside. And if so, I would suggest probably, yeah, so it's a resistance area at the moment. So you can see these three tests of support coming in around, well, it's sort of 62.5, somewhere between 62.5 and 63. So if we get some 4-hour closures back above 63, then I would suggest the next move would probably be up to about 64.5, something like that. Yeah, this isn't impulsive by any stretch of imagination. This is still kind of consolidation. But it's a weekend, right? It's a low volatility environment. So I think next week's going to be really important. You can see the momentum on the 4-hour is back above the zero line. And it's probably a fairly accurate reading. Will remain above the zero line as long as Bitcoin doesn't close 4 hours back below 61.8. So a little bit away from that at the moment. It'll continue rising, continue with a green shade above 62,100. So, yeah, not massively far away from that. So I think overall, Bitcoin's shaping up for a positive week ahead. But, you know, shaping up and doing are two different things. The question is, will this become the next in a sequence of higher lows? And I'd say it's nearly there. But I think proper confirmation would be, in my humble opinion, somewhere back above 63,000. I'd like to see that on a daily time frame. All right, there we are, all done. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, please like, subscribe, share, catch me on Twitter, and I'll see you tomorrow for Monday. Another week, hopefully of opportunities, and if not, fun. Take care. Bye-bye.